I have said to my students, and they listen with great curiosity, I think our country is better off if we have one dominant demographic, one dominant culture. That doesn't mean we persecute and oppress people who don't belong to it, but I think they need to be in the minority. And that dominant culture, I said, needs to be strongly Anglo-Protestant or pan-European, because those are the people that created this country. Their values, their traditions, their institutions, their understandings and commitments created this country and made it great.
Anglo-Protestant.
Yes. Where do you think we come from?
Well, who are we? but okay, I accept that the American civilization rests on a certain historical and cultural foundation. I accept that.
And you know what? The students,
but we're in the 21st century. We're in the 21st century. We're 330 million people, and we are, as you are loath to put it, diverse. So ratifying this ethnocentric hierarchical structure, I mean, people are going to say that's racist. I mean, no wonder they call you a racist. I mean, I don't know how to come to terms with that. Wait. Okay.
Now, Glenn,
go ahead.
You're getting it wrong.
I'm cutting you off. I should allow you to finish your thought.
You are.
I apologize.
Here's the thing. You slap the label racist on it, and that's the end, right? And every time people call me a racist, and I say, well, can you define that term for me? Can you tell me what makes you a racist? And they can't do it. My view is, let's zoom past this labeling, which is a showstopper, and ask ourselves, is this a good policy? Is this a good philosophy? And when I put it to students from all around the world, actually, Asian students, Hispanic students, the students who sign up for my classes, who are remarkably diverse, actually, and they hear it and I say, and here's the thing, people from all around the world want to come here because of that culture. They admire that culture. They look up to that culture. It's produced prosperity. It's produced a stable republic. It's produced all sorts of goods. Why would you want to come in and destroy it? That's crazy.
Well, hold on. I want to flesh out that argument a little bit. So the historical fact that I'm going to stipulate that there's a cultural origin historically in terms of the evolution of the American civilization. And it's been successful in prosperity and maintenance of order and openness and et cetera. I stipulate that. The historical fact redounds to a kind of causal connection. It was because of that culture that this prosperity and stability issue, which hasn't been argued for. And the further assumption that the people are attracted to the country because of the culture, even though they are going to, if they come in from certain origins, undermine it and destroy it, and we should be alert to that, assumes that people are not coming for the prosperity as opposed to coming for the cultural, historical roots of the prosperity. Something like that. Do you see what I'm getting at? I mean...
Well, if people are coming for the prosperity...
Anglo-Protestant? Wait, come on, Amy.
Well, that's
also late 19th century.
Well, so what? I mean, if people have said to me, well, the reason that people flock to so-called, white-controlled countries, quote unquote, like Northern Europe or the Anglosphere or the United States, and a very small part of the globe, Glenn, a tiny, tiny part of the globe, okay? And the rest is, well, I will just say variable degrees of mess, okay? I mean, people are not flocking to Zimbabwe. They are not flocking to Venezuela. They are not going on vacation in Haiti. I mean, they're not. Right? The answer I get is...
I understand that some nations have failed. I like, this book by Duran Asamoglu and James Robinson, Why Nations Fail, and the importance of institutions. And I mean, there's this whole literature in economics, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. And I appreciate the fact that there's a magic sauce kind of thing in the northwestern Europe, and I think the success that we're seeing in the Far East, in China and so on, is indicative to some degree.
I mean,
I've been in Korea. North Korea, South Korea. The differences are very stark, and they're not coming from nowhere. They're coming from the institutions, and those institutions are Western in the origins that you stipulate, and I agree with that. I think capitalism
because
is a
they've
good
adopted to a lot of our best practices. But let me just finish my thought here,
okay?
Which is the answer I get is, well, they come because of our wealth, because of our prosperity. And I said, well, here's the problem with that answer. Where does our wealth and our prosperity come from? I mean, you can't just, stipulate that this fell from the sky and had nothing to do with, how we behave, our high social trust, our practices, our understandings, our respect for property, for the rule of law, for various traditions, for the slow evolution of cautious democracy. I mean, you just go on and on and on of what we've inherited through our founders, and say, look, we should not treat these people as villains. We should respect our origins and try to preserve, protect, and defend those. But what does that entail? That entails being very cautious about being flooded by other cultures, people from other places.
Let me ask you a question. Do you see evidence of the degradation of American culture that you think that you can trace to the difference in the cultural beliefs of migrant populations as compared to the incumbent population, where they're, as it were, pulling down the average?
Well, let me put it this way. It's a contributor, but it's working in unholy alliance with certain tendencies in, far left progressivism. So when you put together homegrown erosion, which is undeniably there, turning against our very origins, our very precepts, that has occurred, no question about it. We have an enormous amount of self-hatred coming from, our own population. But you put that together with the cult of multiculturalism, which is fueled by bringing in people from very variable cultures, some of which are quite antithetical to our founding culture. Then you put the two together and you've got a very bad situation here.